Good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful, hi. Wonderful to see all of you here. Every year at this time of year, the college comes together to stock, to step from the date of our lives and to think about State College. This is always a time for reflection, for looking back at the history of the college, the distance we have traveled, the challenges we have overcome together. It is also a time for looking forward, thinking about the opportunities ahead, and the potential for regional justice. This year, we take we must face a sobering reality. This is in the order we're taking the best of times and the worst of times. In terms of our core academic mission, and caliber of students, quality and education of our faculty, the creativity of staff, our prominence in the world and on the national stage, and public social justice, the college has never been stronger. Same case punches. One overriding reality is the latest round of budget cuts and its budgeting model at risk. To this reality, we must add the fact that our faculty and staff continue to work out a contract expired. This bears the end of the and I add my voice to hope we can shortly have a resolution. So given these realities, my task today is somewhat early, frankly, these challenges, but the challenge ahead and to put our college on solid footing. Discussing our financial and other challenges, I do not intend to defer progress made. We should celebrate the strength of our college. The John Jay story is a great story. The hard dedication in this room and many friends beyond these walls. We have founded a college within CUNY and indeed across the country. Our attendance to college, with strong liberal arts majors and faculty who excel in the scholarship, has earned rank congratulations and from students alike. We should all be very proud of this. But these successes should not mask the hurdles that we face. So before I quickly get to my bottom line, I have absolutely not been succeed in meeting our financial challenges. Rather, we'll put John Jay on the path to a strong future and one that will allow us to fully realize our potential. Lots of hard. It will take a bit more sacrifice. It will require support from other partners and continue to invest in strategies that will expand our revenue sources. As we look at the next 5 years, we can see the emergence of a with a unified revenue base and a national profile different from what we see today. But we must act this, otherwise achieve the stability necessary for John Jay. Today, I set out that vision and to invite you, our college, build that future. But let's start with the basics. As was true of every institution of public higher education, John Jay was hit hard by the financial crisis of 2008. We hit the number of staff, hold many faculty lines vacant, cut expense, and put many of our dreams on hold. Then in the fall of 2011, thanks to the tuition proposed by Governor Cuomo and supported by the New York State Legislature, we began a 5-year program of annual tuition increases. Additional revenue allowed us to hire faculty, fill staffs, and launch new programs. Although still not recovered from the fiscal crisis, we were well on our way. This year, however, 2 things happened that have stalled recovery. First, in a departure from private practice, the state did not provide financial support to the university needed to cover the university's mandated costs. This, in turn, translates into a fundamental reduction to the CUNY budget. That, in turn, translates into a 3% reduction in the John Jay budget, or about $2.7 million. Second, the state informed the university that any salary increase associated with the resolution ESC contract would have to be absorbed by the university. We project that this will require additional $1 million reduction in our budget. So these are 2 significant setbacks for our plans for a balanced budget and our continued trajectory. So other colleges may have reserves that would allow them to absorb the cost of this magnitude. But for John Jay, in large part because of our transition to senior college, we have not been able to assemble reserves of this magnitude. We have therefore resorted to additional cuts to close our budget gap this year. Everyone in this audience knows that these budget cuts have been painful, particularly since they come on the top of other belt-tightening measures we have endured in recent years. We now have fewer staff in the HEO series. About 50 positions are now vacant. And when we decide to fill vacant positions that are needed, because they are needed, we have, as you know, imposed hiring delays. We have cut the number of college assistants. We will be holding more faculty lines vacant. We have reduced expenses once again. So I want to acknowledge that the recent financial news has not all been bad news. I'm pleased to note and share with you that the university has been helpful with a modification of our revenue target and with decisions to advance energy savings and fund maintenance costs for the new building. We are grateful for the support, without which cuts would have been even more severe. But as a bottom line, as a result of these cost-cutting steps, and even with the financial support from the university, we have submitted a balanced financial plan for this year. But for the out years, starting next year, we can expect additional reductions because our budget is not balanced. So last year, when we saw this new reality starting to come into focus, we, the executive team and I and the Budget Planning Committee, started to develop a multi-year strategy that will put John Jay on a sounder financial footing. So today I'd like to outline for you the pillars of this strategy. So note at the outset, this plan I'm about to talk to does not count on additional assistance from the state. In fact, however, we will continue to advocate for additional assistance from the state. I note that the university is now on record saying it will be requesting additional tuition increases in Albany. The university will also be requesting what is called maintenance of effort funding, so we don't suffer that setback for mandatory costs. But nevertheless, I feel it's responsible for me and for us to face the reality we can't count on that assistance and to figure out how to get along without it. What's the first pillar of this plan? First, we have been active discussions with the university about new ways to increase revenue at John Jay College. While those discussions are underway and they're very active right now, I prefer to be circumspect about the details of these proposals, but they share a common trait. They start with the recognition that the transformation of John Jay to a senior college, the journey that we've traveled over the last 8 or 9 years, has provided an enormous financial benefit to our community college partners, while John Jay has experienced a significant financial loss. So we think there are creative ways to protect John Jay's financial posture as we complete our journey to full senior college status. And we expect to resolve our discussions with the university on these ideas in the very near future. The second pillar of our strategy is to expand our enrollment base. The simple truth is that we must increase our enrollment in order merely to survive. If, however, we want to thrive, as I think we do, we must significantly expand enrollment. Fortunately, over the past few years, we've invested in strategies to reach into new potential enrollment markets. And I want to acknowledge the support that we received from particularly the Budget Plan Committee for these investments during hard times. So we have now launched John Jay Online. We have now expanded our course offerings during winter and summer session. This year, we are launching our International Student Recruitment Initiative. Let me speak about each of those three briefly and why they're so important and the potential they hold for us, and then announce a new initiative to help us reach a new student market. Let's start with John Jay Online. This represents a critically important part of our future. Following change in leadership, John Jay Online as a program office is now running at full speed. The new director, and she's spectacular, Judy Kahn, has established a faculty advisory committee to guide the development of new programs. Following the lead of our faculty, we're now working on certificate programs in modern policing, in law enforcement leadership, in investigative psychology. These will all be offered this coming semester. Other certificate programs in cybersecurity, corporate social responsibility, and writing are in the planning stages. Of particular importance for the future of the college, given our mission and our brand, John Jay Online is also working with our faculty to launch the MA in Criminal Justice, which will go online this coming fall, 2016. And we just announced last week that we've received new funding from the university in a competition managed at the university to provide intensive faculty development opportunities next semester in the development of online courses. So this is a very, very exciting time for us. Interested faculty will learn about new and emerging technologies, how these tools can be adapted to improving student learning in their online programs. So stay tuned for announcements about this initiative in the coming weeks. Let's talk next about summer and winter enrollment. Our efforts to increase course offerings during summer and winter paid off handsomely last year. And you may recall I talked about the importance of this during the State of the College address a year ago. Because we offered 28 more courses this past summer, we were able to realize $700,000 in additional revenue. Imagine we had not provided those courses, and we needed to cut that additional amount from our budget. So I want to thank those faculty who have offered these courses, and thank the chairs who made it possible for those courses to be added to the academic calendar. But I also want to urge them and our chairs to do even more. This year, we have set a goal of raising an additional $300,000 from summer and winter courses. So what does this mean? It means another 15 courses. In the coming weeks, we will be working with our faculty and department chairs to ensure that these courses, and even more if we can, are available. But even if we achieve that goal, John Jay will remain significantly behind the other senior colleges within CUNY in terms of the average number of courses that they offer during the summer and winter. So there's clearly room for growth. Now let's talk about international student recruitment. We are now actively engaged in expanding our international student enrollment. We have set a modest goal of 164 international students this year, an increase of 20 over last year. In the years to come, we will aggressively expand our international recruitment efforts. So let's put our efforts in a larger context. Of all students attending higher education institutions in the United States, 4% are international. For John Jay, if we simply reached the national average, that would translate into 600 international students here. 15,000 students, 4%, do the math, 600. And we're trying to make it to 164 this year. So I have no doubt that we will reach the national average, and in relatively short time. But we should ask ourselves whether we want to be average. So let's look down the street at Baruch. Baruch College, our sister college, now has 1,600 international students who come to study at Baruch. If you believe, as I do, that the John Jay brand is so strong, globally as well as locally, and our programs are so attractive, which I know they are to students around the world because of their distinctive features, and we acknowledge as proud New Yorkers that our home here in New York City is a magnet, then I think it's very easy to imagine John Jay as a global destination college. So in my view, as I stated here last year, we need to embrace and not shrink from this opportunity. I'm also pleased to announce today a new program that's under development that will help us reach a new market of potential students. We are calling this Weekend College at John Jay. So think of it this way. We have dozens of classrooms that sit empty on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We believe there's a market of potential students, many of them adult learners, who would be interested in participating in programs of study that are offered entirely on weekends. Some of these courses can also be offered online so that we can offer flexible programming to meet the needs of these students. We will shortly put together a planning group to develop the Weekend College idea further, and we'll be announcing these plans in the coming months. This is an exciting new venture that expands our reach into a new market while maximizing the utilization of our current physical plant. It holds great promise for increased enrollment and thereby helping to close our budget gap, but it is also the right thing to do for those students. So there's one more important strategy to increase enrollment. And that is to improve the retention rates of students already at John Jay. I've spoken about this issue in the State of the College Address for years past, and I'm pleased to say that we're marking some successes in this arena. Our first-year retention rate has increased from 76.7% to 78.9% between the entering classes 2009 and 2013, but there's clearly much more that we can do. We are honored that the Robin Hood Foundation, and I was just meeting with them over lunch today, chose John Jay as the first four-year college to test the principles developed in ASAP, the impressive community college program within CUNY that has seen such significant improvements in graduation rates. Our program, designed here in collaboration with our colleagues at CUNY, is called ACE. Of course, it's an acronym, and those acronym letters stand for something. In this case, it's Accelerate, Complete, Engage, ACE. That the ACE program will test those strategies and those principles in the context of a four-year college to improve retention and to make a significant difference in graduation rates. We have committed to the foundation and to the university, to the chancellor, that we will see big changes in the critical metric of student success. And having just come from this very exciting lunch where the John Jay team briefed the Robin Hood team and the CUNY team on the early months of ACE at John Jay, I have great confidence that we will achieve those goals. So each of these initiatives that I've just outlined is important, but taken together, they represent a strategy to save the college. So let's put it all together. Let me just be very clear. Increasing enrollment is everyone's business. For every additional 100 students we enroll, we bring in $700,000 in revenue. So let me just repeat that equation. Keep it in your mind. 100 brings in 700. So it's clear to me that we cannot rely solely on enrollment growth to close our budget gap. That's why the discussions with the university are so important. But we must also recognize that enrollment growth is an important pillar of our strategy. We are very fortunate that Bob Troy has joined our college as Vice President for Enrollment Management. He is, as he should be, appropriately, very cautious in his projections for enrollment at John Jay in the future. But our challenge is to outperform his projections. So just do the math with me, and you'll see why I think this is so important to our future. If we double our enrollment in John Jay Online, we will realize $570,000 in additional revenue. And John Jay Online is right now very small. If we simply meet the CUNY Senior College average in terms of summer enrollment, using the latest data we have from summer 2013, we will realize an additional $1 million in additional revenue. If we bring our international student enrollment to just to the national average, not to the Baruch stretch goal, we will bring in an additional $5.5 million a year. If we create a weekend college that brings only an additional 100 students here, that will bring in about $700,000. So we have our work cut out for us, but what I want us to recognize is that we have made the necessary investments in each of these new initiatives. Each of them, in different ways, has grown out of a planning process that's involved faculty, involved administrators, involved, in some cases, outside support. So we're ready. We are ready for this next stage of our trajectory. And this enrollment growth that I just talked about is all possible. But to reach these goals, we will need everybody's support. It really is time for all hands on deck. So let's take a step back from these numbers and discussion about different enrollment strategies and take a step back from even the discussion about the budget. In my view, the overarching reason to implement these strategies is not financial. It is educational. Offering more summer and winter classes is good for students who wish to graduate on time. Expanding our reach through online programs advances our goals of enhancing access to a John Jay education, both for students who are resident on our campus, so they can take those courses on their own time, and for students who are not on our campus. Bringing more international students to John Jay extends the reach of our educational programs around the world and enriches our community life here, in the classroom, outside the classroom. Bringing more adult learners to John Jay reflects the recognition that the desire to attend college sometime comes about later in life. So I am firmly convinced that the educational life of John Jay will be enriched by these programs. So we should do it for that reason, not just for the financial gain. As we work together to boost enrollment, we should pause to take pride in the college that we have created. John Jay continues to garner accolades. As you know, if you're looking at the posters all around the campus, We've recently been ranked by Washington Monthly as number 4 in the Northeast under their best bang for the buck analysis. This is in addition to other remarkable rankings, including number 3, best for vets by the Military Times. Number 1, best value in criminal justice in the country by bestvalueschools.com. Our MPA program has been ranked among the top 5. Our criminal justice graduate program among the top 15. Our doctoral program in criminal justice, the top 10. Then, just last week, and I thank Professor Benton for pointing this out to me, The Economist, big article on college education, rethinking the value of college education. And Professor Benton teased out some of the data, and he wrote me over the weekend to say, The Economist just ranked John Jay as number 1 among the CUNY senior colleges against the metric of the level of student success in post-graduation earnings. I mean, think about that. This one, I think, is particularly gratifying. We know our students graduate with very little debt. We know that they come here and do well. We know that they outperform the predictions that the statistical model would hold for them in terms of their academic success. This tells us that they also outperform their predictions in terms of their income once they leave John Jay. I think that's one of the best possible outcomes of a John Jay education. That is true education for justice. So affirmation of our success comes from other quarters as well. Year after year, according to surveys of CUNY students around the university, our students, John Jay students, consistently rank our services first or second among all the colleges. Another metric, this year, because of the success of our faculty in their scholarly activities and our research centers, John Jay now ranks number 4 among all CUNY colleges in terms of grant funding, bringing in a record $23.5 million last year. That's a 3-year average that's 40% higher than the previous 3-year average. Our faculty are increasingly recognized as leaders in their disciplines. Our doctoral program in clinical psychology has just received its first 7-year accreditation from the American Psychological Association. These accomplishments, and so many others, are a tribute to our remarkable faculty. The John Jay openness to development of new programs has also been widely recognized. In addition to the ACE program that I just mentioned, we have been selected by the Robin Hood Foundation as the first 4-year college to implement the Single Stop program. We had a big ribbon cutting here last week. Single Stop is it's in essence a database or service where you sit down and somebody interviews you, and you discover by that software program the federal and state and city benefits that you're entitled to you didn't know about. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars will come into our students' pockets because we've been selected as a single-stop site. Then there was the decision by the de Blasio administration and Commissioner Bratton at the police department to turn to John Jay to develop the Apple Corps, a pipeline program to develop the next generation of law enforcement personnel. Then there's the consortium of industry leaders working with John Jay to develop a similar program for students interested in cybersecurity. Then there are foundations like the Pinkerton Foundation, the Tao Foundation, other private donors, including several of our trustees, who have invested in innovative academic fellowship programs that serve as a bridge between the classroom and the world of work. And then finally, another feather in our cap, just last week, the university announced that John Jay received 2 grants under the Strategic Investment Initiative. One for $656,000 will allow us to create digital portfolios for our students so both their academic and their extracurricular achievements can be highlighted in a way that can be presented to prospective employers. The second, for $750,000, will allow us to expand our online programs by supporting intensive faculty development, and by augmenting our recruitment and our marketing strategies. And then, to top off a very good week, we learned that John Jay is the only senior college selected for a 3-year grant of slightly less than $100,000 a year from the J.P. Morgan Chase Foundation and CUNY. And this grant will support the development of a dual admission joint degree program in computer science and information security between John Jay and 5 community colleges. We will design this program in close consultation with a consortium of industry partners, thereby creating career opportunities for our students and research opportunities for our faculty. I just want to pause here and thank, in particular, Ann Lopes, Dean Stoddard, Jane Bowers, Provost Bowers, for putting together these winning proposals have been seen by people at CUNY as being evidence of the high quality thinking that's being done here at John Jay. So all of these successes are possible only because of the hard work that we, and particularly the faculty and the staff, have done together, because we're building on a strong base. We're building on a strong base that includes work done to raise the quality of the core educational experience of our students, and that is being recognized. Our general education program, redesigned a few years ago, our suite of exciting new liberal arts majors, our comprehensive approach to advisement, our focus on student engagement, all of these have brought John Jay to a place where we are truly standing at the head of our class. So our challenge going forward is to project the image of what we know internally as the new John Jay onto a larger canvas. In simple terms, we have a marketing challenge. Seen differently, we have a marketing opportunity. So in order to attract more students and to attract better prepared students to apply to John Jay, both as undergraduates and graduates, we need to launch an advertising campaign, a unique campaign that gets the word out that John Jay is frankly a hot college. So today we're going to start that campaign. And if I can get the clicker to work the right way, we'll see if I can. This is the preview. There it is. It's a new advertising campaign. So how did we come to this point? Over the past few months, a number of us have been talking about ways to take the good work that we've done internally, the redesign of our core educational programs, what we know of, what we call the new John Jay, and to understand that we have an identity, a brand that is strong and very attractive, very powerful. We have a great asset. So we have these two assets that we have to think about how to market in ways that will attract more students and attract students who are prepared for rigorous work. So last spring, as all of the enrollment issues and the budget issues were starting to come into focus, and we realized that we needed to sort of dig deep, I placed a call to our trustee, Alan Siegel, who helped develop our branding work. And I had the following conversation with Alan. I said, I've resisted, as some of you know, the idea of an ad campaign because I didn't want to be just another poster on the subway. I wanted to elevate the image of John Jay. And Alan said, that's the right instinct. You don't want to degrade your brand. You want to elevate your brand. And let's do something that is consistent with who you are. So Alan pulled together a team of his creative geniuses who met with some of our creative geniuses. Over the past few months, we've been working with the team called Siegel Vision, is where Alan's now set up shop, created a new company. And we gave Alan and his colleagues the following challenge: to design a campaign that would capture our distinctive mission, that would be substantive, would engage people on issues of justice, would speak to the next generation. We need to speak to 17-year-olds. And since we have a tight budget, could be mounted with minimal, ideally zero, financial investment. We didn't quite reach zero, but we're really close. Some schools, by the way, I just heard of one the other day, a small school we compete with has a $3 million advertising budget. We have a zero advertising budget. So Alan has come up with a spectacular campaign, which I want to share with you. So what's the goal? The goal is to attract and retain high-achieving students. As we've become a senior college, this is our number one market. Our number one target is to get students who are prepared for very, very rigorous work. And the decision we made years ago to no longer accept associate degree students is consistent with this goal. Note the nationally and internationally, because we want to reach beyond the borders of New York City. So I'm going to show you the ads that Alan and his team came up with in a second, but let me just talk first about what we intend to do with these. They're going to be, this is the internal launch today. They will be put everywhere on our campus. But more importantly than just having them placed, we want to encourage our students, our faculty, our staff, and our alumni to share these messages on social media. We want to see these on Facebook. We want to see these on Instagram. We want to see these on Twitter. We will have contests for students to share their favorite ad, talk about what it means to them. Ultimately, but not yet, not immediately, we hope to place these ads in conspicuous places throughout the city. We want to create a buzz that there's something special happening at John Jay. And we want to connect with people who are interested in social justice. And if they're in the market to go to college or they have a child who's ready to go to college, that this is the place. That's the message. So who is our audience? Principally high school students, right? We have open house coming up here soon. We spend a lot of time and energy reaching high school students. We also want to reach potential graduate students. We're trying to build our graduate program, which has now leveled off and is starting to build back up again. We're formally launching this campaign next Sunday on November 15th because that's our undergraduate open house. So what do we want to do? We want to communicate in ways that will connect with these potential students, have them understand who we are and how we're distinctive, set aside some of the myths. We want to be clear that we're about educating for justice, broadly defined, and convey the sense that we're a high-energy institution. Here's the first ad. So the results of this effort are simply stunning. No other college advertises itself this way. It captures your attention, makes you think, gets you into a frame of mind like this is a different place. This is a distinctive institution. And you see the connection with our Educating for Justice. Alan and his team came and spoke to our students. They asked them, do you care about advertising? And the answer was no. Students don't. That's not the way they process information. Then they showed them these ads. And students said things like, that's my college. That's who we are. These are direct quotes. That's who we are. That's what makes us different. When they were shown in the focus groups, the students immediately wanted to take pictures of these ads and post them. I said, no, can't do it yet. Not until we launch. Because they want to share their pride with their friends. This will be, as far as I can determine, the first recruitment campaign that is carried by students and through social media. We'll do our part too, but students will be in the lead. So these ads that I'm showing you now will be on our campus, cyberspace, and social media. And let's go through a couple others. Other colleges promise to help you pursue a career. Only one promises to help you pursue justice. John Jay, Educating for Justice. Next one. Some of our graduates work in human resources. Others fight human trafficking. A lot of edge, a lot of bite there. You can go to a business school and pursue money. You can go to performing arts school and pursue fame. You can also come to John Jay and pursue justice. Justice now? You hear that in public discourse these days? But justice how? Come here and talk about it. So next year, when we gather again for the State of the College, I'm convinced that we will see the results of our work. And the pillars of the strategy I outlined will be already paying dividends. We will see the successes of our recruitment efforts, our expanded reach into the world, our new retention strategies. Granted, and I'm not a Pollyanna, we will have a difficult year ahead as we tighten our belts once again. And this is something that's difficult for us to do at the same time that we're investing in the plans that will build the foundation for the modern John Jay. But because of those investments, and because of the extraordinary work of our faculty and our staff, and because our students have faith in us, our future is bright and significant progress is within reach. So thank you for everything you do for the college. I thank you for your forbearance during these tough times. I thank you for your embrace of these new initiatives. And I thank you for your contributions to the remarkable story of this college that today is poised for really great things in a stellar second half century. Your efforts have truly been heroic, and John Jay stands in your debt. Thanks so much for coming. And there's a reception across the hall.